Thank you.
There is a global refugee crisis. The asylum seekers who are war refugees from Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Iran, waiting for decisions in their slum housing are not looking for rent-free housing or free heating. They are waiting for their papers so they can get the hell out of there and begin to build their lives.
Just because something is legal, it does not mean that history will look back on it kindly.
It is not us that is painting SERCO in a bad light. You, Rupert Soames, are doing that well enough for yourself. These are not failed asylum seekers, and let's just get that out of the way. Many asylum seekers are gathering evidence from their home countries and pursuing their legal cases and will have their decisions overturned on appeal. But you can't appeal unless you have the evidence, and the evidence is lying back in countries like Syria, Iraq or war-torn Afghanistan. Then there are the Home Office delays. How do people get evidence out of these countries? It's a very difficult, long, arduous process. SERCO has also commented, now they're a landlord in this situation of asylum seekers, they've commented on the merits of people's cases as justification for carrying out this mass extrajudicial eviction of families, children, women, men, the elderly, the sick, the disabled. SERCO is a private landlord, not the Home Office. They are not there to pass judgment on people's cases.
The woman was interviewed for 6.5 hours. They asked her 263 questions. They spent 2 pages, because I have seen the transcript, they spent 2 pages asking her about her sexual violence and assault. Over and again. When she was upset, they came back to it, and again and again. I'm sorry if that has upset you. You need to know that this is happening. People are being set up to fail. It's not about answering the questions correctly, it's about tricking you into saying something that contradicts something you might have said when you were scared out your wits. We have a system that interrogates you and expects you to have an in-depth knowledge of your home country, and if you don't, then your country of origin is disputed. If I took your child now and put a gun to their head, could you tell me what colour a £10 note is? Because that is the questions that people are asked. They are asked to prove things that you maybe don't know, and if you don't know them, and you certainly don't know them under the traumatic experience of an interview, then your country of origin is disputed. We have a system that gives you next to no access to advocacy and quality support, face-to-face support. And we have a system of monumental incompetence. They deport people who have not finished their appeals rights and who are still waiting decisions. They deport people first and ask questions later. And this is our government. It is utterly shameful, and it is just as pernicious as anything that Trump is doing in America.
And then now we see that SERCO has made an announcement. This is not a news for me, because this is a reality for hundreds of people in their daily basis life. This is not a news. This has been going around for years. What makes it huge is the fact that we all came together and the politicians picked up the news. And I think it's really important that we should keep up that momentum, that we should keep it together and show that how a campaign could make a difference. What I've seen on Facebook and on social media is the horrible comments that people comment on the news articles. The first thing that I see is people saying, what about our people? What about our people in the streets? Why do they not get houses? Why are we not housing our people first? Well, you know what? The problem is not asylum seekers and refugees. The problem is the Tory government. The problem is the austerity.
Tomorrow in front of Broad Street, these 2 young men will be staging a hunger strike. I don't know for how many days they can last, but they are going to sit in front of the Home Office and burn a hunger strike the way they were treated and the way they were dealt with by the Home Office.
Our government may not put children in cages, but this weekend I had to comfort my 9-year-old neighbour because she saw her cousin murdered and she knows what her mother has been through, and she looked at me and she said, Kim, I am so scared that that's going to happen to me. I am so scared that's going to happen to me, and if we get sent back, that's what's going to happen to me. And what was I supposed to say to her? And she is 9 years old, and this is what our government is doing. This is what our government is doing.
Belfast is a SERCO area, and they know our story today all too well. And they wrote this short statement in solidarity with the people of Glasgow. Housing for All, based in Belfast, sends its support and solidarity to their friends in the asylum and refugee community in Glasgow, affected by this disgraceful decision by SERCO to make people homeless. Belfast is another area under SERCO control, and we know all too well the forced evictions, the intimidation and the poor housing conditions from our own experience. We will be delivering a letter to a SERCO representative next week calling for an end to this process of enforced homelessness on already vulnerable people. Yours in solidarity, Sipo Sibanda, the group representative. Make sure he can hear us in Belfast.
I think it's easy for us when we're in our private lives going about our business to be totally ignorant of what actually is the despair, the tragedy, the horror that people face only just down the street, maybe in the next building to us, and what that means and what we can do to try and help. One of the highlights, in fact, his mother tragically died in February, and no sooner than she'd been buried had the Home Office threatened a 10-year-old child with deportation to a country he didn't know about. He has been in this city since he was 3 years old. He is now 10 years old. He speaks with the same accent as I do, and his friends are all at his local school in Springburn. What sort of perverse situation can we have in this country where a child like that can be threatened to be thrown out of a city that is his only home, the only place he knows, having lost his mother, been orphaned, his father killed by gangsters in Georgia, having to flee as a small infant to this country for sanctuary, and to be then threatened to be stripped with that basic dignity and security and cast out. I think that is absolutely disgusting, and it's one of the most appalling things I've ever encountered in my life, never mind serving as a Member of Parliament.
It's shameful that in 2018 people are being detained, not knowing when they will be out. It's shameful in 2018 that people are going to be made homeless. Please don't stay in silent. If you've got a friend who stays in silent, make them come out here, make them volunteer at place, send them an article to really look at the facts and information about immigration. There's Post of Action in Housing, there's Refugee, there's Mental Health Integration Network, Community Info Source, which is another thing that just started. There's the Govan Community Project as well, there's Unity Centre. Don't stay silent, make an action and act on it. Say it loud and say it clear!
Refugees are welcome here!
Say it loud and say it clear!
Refugees are welcome here!
Stay in unity and strength. Thank you.